Hello traders and welcome to another video review. Today is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. Let's find out what is going on in the Forex calendar. So what do we have here? The first thing is that we have the data from the Japan in form of the GDP, and the GDP was less than expected. Completely disappointed the market participants. Minus 0.3 is the actual reading, while the forecast was 0.3%, and then the last reading was 1.1%. So for the third quarter, GDP is deteriorating in Japan. ABA meeting minutes were published overnight as well, and the industrial production from China was published too. 5% is the actual reading, which is worse than forecast of 5.2 and worse than previous reading of 6.3. Average earning index and bonus from the UK had been published already, but during the London session we are still waiting for the Claimant Count Change and German ZEW economic sentiment. All of these data are very important, as you can see, so please stay focused and vigilant during the release of this data. And during the New York session we have the producer price index data scheduled for release 3:30, and market participants expect the producer price index to hit the level 0.4 just as it was last time or the last month. So we got some data here scheduled for the release. It doesn't look that bad for today. Plenty of some important, very important data for today. Let's find out what's happened with the Japanese dollar and the Japanese yen and the Australian dollar, of course, after the data were published. So the Australian dollar 4-hour chart is looking very bullish. As we can see here on this chart, we extended the rally towards 100% of the Fibonacci projection. We extend 127%. Maybe the next target for this move will be 161%. I will mark it on the chart right now and switch to the daily to see the situation in the bigger perspective. And yes, indeed, we are now testing the very important trend line. 9.33% of the rally is completely different than 678 last time and the 663 in May. So that might be a completely different situation here. As we can see, the US dollar is deteriorating across the board. So now the other currencies might start to rally higher. Let me just zoom in a little bit to the recent rally, and what do we see here? As you can see very easily on this chart, the rally is in 3 legs, so that's not quite good. However, we broke above the supply zone already, 6,684, 6,715, and we are heading towards the next zone, and the next zone is located between 6,854, 6,831. so this is the next supply zone, and just in between of these two levels is 161% Fibonacci projection. So if we get there, we will easily have like a 10% of the, there you go, 11% of the extension of the recent bounce. So this is even a little bit more if we get there. Okay, it looks like we will, because the momentum is positive. It didn't hit the extremely overbought conditions just yet, so it's still, there's still a room for the bulls to climb higher. However, please notice the fact that we might have a false breakout here and then a reversal. So it's very important to keep an eye on the current situation on the Australian dollar. Let me just change all of these levels to the technical support. I mean 6,370, 6,580, and one of the most important ones, 6,684. The supply zone will now act as the demand zone, local demand zone, of course, because it hasn't been tested significantly just yet. So This zone is now the demand zone, and it might help to break towards the level of 6,854. So that's the outlook for the Australian dollar. Let's find out what's going on with the New Zealand dollar. As you can see, the situation is very, very similar to the Australian dollar. The New Zealand dollar is rallying strongly, and again, in this situation, that rally is bigger than any previous rally since the market topped, because this is already 11.7%, and we are breaking out of the channel. Again, very important breakout. However, please notice the fact that we are trending very, very strongly to the upside. However, the momentum starts to look overbought, so it starts to hitting the overbought levels, despite the fact that there is still plenty of the room to go higher, because the next target for bulls is located at 6,190, and the other one is 6,349, 6,463. So plenty of the room for the bulls to rally yet. So all of these levels here will now act as a technical support, so we can get rid of that. I will just put this one a little bit higher. There you go. And now this will be the technical support, 5,841. The level of 5,920 is a support as well. This level, which was very important, 6,056 pips, now violated technical support, and we are approaching again the very narrow supply zone located between 6,144, 6,190. So this still looks kind of impulsive. However, I didn't look into that much details into the recent bounce yet. So if the breakout out of the channel, because that's the most important thing, is of course extended above 6,190 pips, that will be decisive breakout, and we can say that the market is making very nice comeback, and there are chances for more levels to the upside to be hit. So last but not least, maybe US dollar to Japanese yen. Of course, we look at it yesterday, and as you can see, we hit our targets, of course. However, we still have a plan for a greater rally towards 157.47, 157.08. Okay, so the situation here is known. Situation here is under control, despite the fact that we hit the extremely oversold levels. Just a tad lower, we might go very, very soon. So we will leave the US dollar to the Japanese yen and concentrate on US dollar index, because the US dollar index, let me just put it right, there you go. The US dollar index is extending the drop again towards the target we have mentioned, 105.78, and this target is the target for the wave Y, and that means that drop here, that correction basically is the biggest correction in the uptrend. So that means the uptrend might be completed, and we just started the corrective movement to the downside, almost 9%. To be honest, this is the nearest technical level to be hit, 105.78, 105.02, 104.62. Those are the levels that might be the target for the bears, and then we expect a bounce. However, please notice the fact that complex corrections like this, WXY, might evolve into double X and Z on the end of the correction. So this is not that certain that at one of these levels the potential for the termination of the correction is still great. However, it might not be that easy. So Please keep an eye on the US dollar index. And last but not least, let's take a look at the S&P 500, what the S&P 500 is doing. The S&P 500 is rallying above this short-term channel. So what do we see here? Channel trend line or the channel. What do we see here is that we broke above the trend line. We broke above the 3,921 level after the bounce started from the 50% of the Fibonacci retracement of the whole big move to the upside. So right now the target is still the supply zone, again the same supply zone, 4,114, 4,180, and the momentum is positive, which means that as long as the US dollar is going down across the board, the S&P 500 will go up, the Australian dollar will go up, New Zealand dollar will go up, pound will go up, and euro dollar will go, of course, up. So in that situation, we can say that it's always better to stay vigilant, better to stay focused, because right now on the on many of the daily time frame charts, the market hits or is about to hit the extremely overbought or oversold levels, like in the case of the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, US dollar index, and US dollar to Japanese yen, for example. But there's plenty more markets where the situation is similar, so it might just seem like a beginning of the nice rally. Fine. However, the pullback might happen anytime soon, and it might last like 2, 3, maybe even 4 days before the market will make a decision whether it should continue the bounce, the strong bounce, or reverse even lower and continue, of course, the downtrend. So please stay focused, stay vigilant, do your own research, do your own analysis, and trade accordingly. That's everything from me for today. Thank you very much for watching this analysis, and I hope I see you guys tomorrow. So take care and bye bye.